Hola, mi Bisshhs. 'Tis I, Clois, aka Manny Bish, over on Instagram. And welcome back to another episode of Voice Over in My Closet because it's the only place I have carpet and does not echo. As you can see, we're doing something completely different for me today. I have got on these crazy long nails, and I'm going to start off with Peach Lace by Builder Gel by Manny Boss, and I'm just going to do one layer of that. And then I'm going to go in with a second layer of something else. And I'm only going to show y'all one nail because we're all here for the nail art. And these nails, I did the pop-off method for them. So you don't have to worry about me hurting myself or anything. I will have the application of that situation and the removal in a different video. But yeah. I did the pop-off method. I wanted to see what they would look like on, do the art on and everything, and then pop them off easy so that I could reuse them for press-ons later on if I wanted to. So I am curing this for a minute, and then I'm going in now with Aphrodite's Lover from Nail Reserve. And we are going to do just one layer of this on top of that peach lace. Also curing this for a minute. When I am done with it, I wanted to go more nude, calm situation for the background because the nail art is going to be like pretty detailed and out there. So I wanted it to pop, and I knew that this like nude would just be the perfect thing for that. So that's what we are doing. And y'all, when all of these were done with color, I feel like I looked like I had a chicken foot, a little chicken foot, chicken claws. Like, y'all see that? That's what we're dealing with. Also, hard to control my pinky with these nails on and get it to lay perfectly, but I digress. I am going to wipe these off with some alcohol and get that tacky layer off before we go in with our nail art. So that's just what I'm doing here. Just wiping off with some alcohol. And then for the nail art, we are going to be going into some jack-o'-lantern cherries first. And I am just going to start that off by using my dotting tool to kind of create where I want the circles, and then I'll use the liner brush part to really perfect that outer situation and go in, like really perfect those borders of the circles for the cherries. And I'm trying to do the little top where it kind of caves in and is more plump like that. We're trying to do the things. Also, sorry for any strands of hair that you may catch. I really had my head down as close as I could get to this table to see what I was doing for this nail art. So you might catch some, random stragglers in this video. But anyways, so I am going to do this. And then after I'm getting these, I want them to touch too. So they are going to be touching the cherries. And then I'm going to come in with a 3D acrylic nail art brush. And I am going to be using that dabbled in some black and some alcohol to dilute it. And I'm going to try shading. So this video, you guys, is the longest nails I've ever done and probably the longest I've ever taken on nail art. So, because I really wanted the detail to be there and just give. So I'm literally just going back and forth with the black, some alcohol, everything mixed on this little brush to really do all this shading. I'm trying to do the bottom left corners of the pumpkins and the top right of them to give like the light shooting across the middle. And that's going to be where I'm going to focus most of my shading. But I'm also going to be kind of spreading it throughout just to give it texture. And I'm also, when I do the lines in the pumpkin to create that the line definition, I'm going to be using my black on a liner brush. And then I'm going to go back in with this 3D acrylic brush with some alcohol on it to disperse that and kind of just shadow that out and make it blend more. There you go, blend. Also, guys, please bear with me. My video is only skipping when I'm trying to do this voiceover. When the voiceover is not going on, it's totally fine playing. So I'm not exactly able to just keep up and keep pace with the video and what I'm doing to what I'm saying. So I'm trying, and I'm stopping every like little bit to make sure everything is like fairly lined up. But if it's not, forgive me. And we're actually going in with our vines next, our little stems. And so we're going in with green, and I am putting that and starting it off more in, like, not at the top of the pumpkin at that border. I'm actually going into the orange, and we're going to create some shadow and depth around that as well later on that you will see. So I am doing that as well. And so we're just creating our little vine. I'm also going back in with that same 3D brush that I'm using for shadowing and stuff to clean up as well. My lines got a little thick here, just using that to thin them out, clean it up. And then we're going to create our little leaf. And then I am going to be outlining all of this in black just to make it pop even more. And so I'm using my Maniology dual-ended dotting tool liner brush for this situation. I've gotten to where I really, really like these brushes. I use them like for everything now. But anyways, I am using that for my black outline, and I am going to be outlining the cherry stems, the cherries themselves, and then I'll be going in with that extra detail on the inside of the pumpkin. With my liner brush, and then back to also that shading brush that I'm using, the 3D brush that I'm using for shading that situation. I am sorry that this video is so long, but these nail art situation just took so long, and I was trying to get every nail aspect in there to show y'all exactly what I did and how I did it. And so I think it's going to be worth it. I hope you guys think that the length of this video will also be worth it, and just maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll feel like trying it. Maybe you'll feel like getting out of your comfort zone. This was definitely out of my comfort zone. I never go this much into detail on my nail art, and I really wanted to. I wanted to challenge myself with the length, with the depth, and everything, and I'm actually really happy that I did, because I really enjoyed these nails. So now you see I'm adding a little bit of extra black here at the base of the stem, and then shadowing that out, like trying to blend it out, tap it out, just disperse it situation. Just to create that shadow at the base of the cherry of the stem, you get it. Now we are going to start outlining those cherries. I am just really trying to not make these mess up and keep them as smooth as possible. And I'm actually outlining the cherry that I want to be brought forward. I am following the outline of that to be in black. And then I am going to be going in with this liner brush on the inside and doing those lines again. Creating that depth, and then going back in with the shading brush to shade those out. I am flash curing a lot of this, every little bit. Just when I finish with one color, when I finish with one shading, flash cure, flash cure, flash cure. We are flash curing the crap out of these nails so that I do not mess anything up at all, because that would be devastating to me. So after finishing up the shading on these pumpkins, I am looking at the whole nail, trying to see and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to shade a little bit more at the base of that stem, actually on the stem and not on the pumpkin part, just to give it some more shadow. And I'm just looking at it, seeing where I think something might need more, and that's pretty much it. I also did go in with the shadowing on the stem to give that some texture, so it doesn't just look flat green. Now we're going to get started on the eyes of my jack-o'-lanterns, and you're going to see me switch out brushes like a couple of times here. I started with this blue one, didn't like it, switched to my long liner one, that wasn't working, so found my Maniology short one, and I went in with that one and was liking the way that one was handling the situation. So it's all about, what works for you, what you can get to work for you, what gets the job done. So what works for me may not work for y'all, and vice versa. So just keep that in mind. And I'm just doing triangles for the little pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern eyes. I keep saying pumpkin, but I know it's called a jack-o'-lantern. I know. My bad, guys. I'm sorry. And then we're going to go on to the mouths, which for me was the hardest part, trying to get like the teeth situation carved out correctly. And I know I should have shaded them in, so that was my bad on that part. Like, I didn't color in the whole mouth, so I messed up there. But whatever. Now we're going in with blood drips. So I'm just dotting those dots where I want the drip part to be. Taking my liner brush and going up from there, and then creating that base from where I want the blood to be dripping from. And so for this one, I'm actually going to be doing it dripping from the bottom of the pumpkins, and I'm also going to be doing one at the top of the nail as well, dripping from my cuticle. And so we're just going to go in with all of that. You're gonna draw it up, create where you're having the blood come from, and then just kind of curve it into that drop so that you have the perfect just little blend and flow and not harsh line of drippingness, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to do that after I've created all of those drips. And then also, some of the drips I am leaving as standalone, like not connected to anything, to make it look like it's already separated from that falling situation. Like it's already done dripped, It's not dripping, it's dripped. And it's fallen. It's not connected to anything. Leaving it like that. So then we're going to go in, same thing with my cuticle area here. And then we're going to take a break from all of this hard work on these nails, and we're going to go to the easy nails. So I did my thumb off camera, and I'm going to show y'all how I do that right now on my index finger. So I am actually just taking that 3D brush that I was using, and because it picks up like more paint, I am using that to put down the base for these patchworks that I'm doing on my finger. And we are just doing random, wherever, however, no rhyme or reason. Does not have to be perfect. Less perfect, the better. So keep that in mind. And since this mani is all about like adding depth and detail and just going the extra, mile, after I've done all that, I'm going in with some red. After I have flash cured these little patches, I'm going in with some red and just laying that down and just randomly, not splattering it out, but doing it. And then going back in with some alcohol, thinning it out, blending it out, just creating that extra depth in there to give it texture. And I am flash curing this layer as well. And then we're going to go in with some black on top of that and do the exact same thing that we did with the red. Again, just randomly, not random with the black. I am just trying to stick to like those outer corner situations for the shadow. But again, and then blending it out and adding some of that black even in the center to create that depth and that texture. And if it looks too black, I'm just going in with more alcohol, diluting it more, spreading it out. That's all. It was actually fairly easy to work with, just manipulate it, however, and don't worry about it being perfect. It's going to come together at the end. It will. And when I've done all of that, we're going to outline with black, and I'm going to do the borders on all of these. And since it's just an outline, I'm not and it's a straight line, I'm not going through all of it with you guys, just showing you what I'm doing. And then we're going to create the X's, like the actual patching itself. So that's going to be X's, just some little like stitch marks, and I'm only showing you one on that because, again, it's very repetitive. So I'm not trying to bore y'all completely with the repetitiveness, so don't want to, like, go over everything over and over again. And then after I've done this, I'm going to show y'all how I did the splatter paint situation on the splatter blood splatter on my thumb, on my pinky. So I'm just taking my dotting tool and literally just randomly placing that red and kind of just spreading it around. And then I'm going to take my liner part of that and just go through and stretch it out, just dragging my brush through it, creating those lines. And I did this because after looking at my nails, I realized that I kind of wanted blood dripping on my index finger with the patchwork, and then on the middle finger where I'm going to do my jack-o'-lantern lollipop sucker, I wanted that to actually have more blood splatter on it. And so we're kind of doing like blood splatter, blood drip, blood splatter, blood drip. And so my pinky is going to be the blood splatter. That's how that's happening. Now we finally made it to our jack-o'-lantern sucker. So I started off using my dotting tool to do this, and then it was just too small. So I ended up coming in and freehanding the circle shape situation that I wanted. And so I'm using my liner brush, and then I'm filling it in again with that 3D brush. And then I'm going to use that same 3D brush dipped in alcohol and take out part of the circle at the top, like a bite is been taken out of it. And I'm also going to add some like just little orange dots around, like kind of crumbs. And then we are going to come back in after curing that and everything, and we are going to shade this guy as well, and we're going to add his stem, which is just going to be white. I'm also still using that 3D brush for cleaning up, like my stem was a little crooked, so my stick was a little crooked, so I'm going to go in and clean that up. I'm also going to then outline this guy. I did skip the shading just because you've seen me do it on the other two pumpkins, the cherries, and I'm not trying to be repetitive. I did the exact same thing, same, technique, and same thing with like the blood drips on the index finger. It didn't show that because I showed you on the first nail, and again, not trying to bore y'all to death with the repetitiveness. So, yeah. Also, really trying to make sure that stick looks like it's coming from outside, like coming from the sucker. So I am shading a little bit more around the stick and the base of the jack-o'-lantern, just trying to make sure that it looks like it's actually coming out of the sucker. And also, guys, I'm sorry if my voice is inconsistent because since I'm having to stop this every little bit to make sure that I'm like still kind of on track, since my video is skipping during the voiceover, I forgot to plug in my mic like twice and did the voiceover without my plug, but without my mic. But since it's being so difficult, I am not going back and trying to do it again. I'm sorry. It's getting really frustrating having to do this, so forgive me. And then we're coming in with our face. Of course, our jack-o'-lantern needs a face. A face, not a fade. A face. And so I'm also using my 3D brush to kind of help me create those teeth. I actually shaded in the mouth this time. I remembered. I did it this time. Didn't do it on the other ones, and I'm not going back to do it because of the way I've already have the gel laid out. It wouldn't look right. I thought about it, believe me. The eyes, same thing, triangle eyes, and then I'm going to add the blood splatter on this one, but again, I'm not going to add it since I already showed y'all how I did it and just throwing it on there. And that is the mani. I'm only top coating one nail on camera because holy moly, these are long and it takes an extra minute just to top coat these because of how long they are. So anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was a longer one. I'm really glad y'all came and watched. I hope maybe you learned something. Maybe you got inspired to try something new, challenge yourself. This was totally different and out of my comfort zone for sure. The length, the depth and detail of it all. but I am so proud of how they came out. They actually came out like exactly how I pictured them. And isn't that the best when you have something in your head and it actually comes out the way you want it to? Like, love that for me. And so I really hope you guys, like, if you wear long nails like this, how do you function? Because holy moly, I like could not do anything with my hand. I literally was like, oh, I felt so weird. It was just awkward. However, because they are pop off and they did a clean pop off, I do plan on wearing them for actual Halloween, just for that night. And believe me, I plan on keeping these bad boys too, because I spent time and hard work on these and I love the way they came out, even if I do only wear them one night for an hour. And this is how good the pop-off method works. We're just going to flip that bad boy right back on over. And these, I did take them off and then put them back on just to take pictures. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Free to you, helps me out a ton. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, Bisshhh!